Hi, everybody, and welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. So, this is our first. I'm Jen. I'm from Arizona. I'm here with Chrystal
I'm from Missouri. Hi, everybody.
and Melissa.
I'm from near London in the UK.
And this is our first ever doing the podcast with people. So, thank you all for joining us. And I'm really excited to see um, how this goes.
Yeah. First of all, welcome, everybody. I'm so super, super excited to be doing this. You don't even know how excited I am. So thank you all for showing up. Wherever you are, all these different times, it's just beautiful. These are my favorite spaces with lots of people and lots of connection. It's just, it really just warms my heart. So
why doesn't everyone put in the chat box just whereabouts you're coming from? I know that we've got Vanna, who's come from New Mexico, so that's amazing. So Pakistan, amazing. It's really good to have you here. Where else is everyone else from?
I know we have a Thailand.
I know Patricia from Oregon.
London,
We
Portland,
have,
Spain, amazing. Bangladesh, it's great to have you here.
thank you. So
Wow.
awesome.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So if you haven't watched our podcast yet, we often come here and we're talking about an understanding that all three of us, me, Chrystal, and Jen, have come across, the three principles, which has completely changed our lives. And we are opening up this conversation. We want to know whereabouts you are in this understanding. And if there's any questions that you want to ask, or if you're struggling with something, or if you've had an insight yourself, it would be amazing to hear from you. So if any of you want to ask a question, just put your hand up and then we'll come over to you. And whereabouts are you? Okay, Albert. Hit it off, Albert.
Well, yeah, I just heard something. Crystal said that she's very excited. And I thought, well, for me, before knowing the Philippines, because it would be I'm nervous or I am feeling uncertain or whatever. And you just like, oh, I'm excited. Okay, different. Huh? This feeling is like positive, curious, going from that place of looking at, oh, it's here and not feeling everything can go wrong. Things go wrong all the time, which is normal. Looking at that excitement and that curiosity, for me, that was something that is part of what I changed for me with the three things. I heard, I heard that. Yeah, that's. I wanted to point to that.
Thank you. You know what? Thank you for pointing to that because that is something that is it's a simple thing. Of course, could there be some like what I could label as a nervous feeling? Absolutely. But it's not really. It's not. And it's excitement and it's curiosity and it's all those things with having all these people, this being our first time live with everyone. It's just, you have no idea. I'm just beyond excited. Like, but thank you. That is something. It is really easy to turn that into, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. What am I going to say? What if I mess up? What if, what if, what if? And no, just being here with everyone just is absolutely amazing. And from all over the world, it's beautiful.
Yes. So, real fast, I just remembered that someone did post a question. And I wanted to kind of look at that. And Maggie, I believe you posted a question. And when I read your question, I just wanted, you talked about how you get in this loop where you think of something that would help you feel better, but then you get upset with yourself because that's outside in. And I just want to tell you, coping skills aren't outside in. So we all have things that come to mind that will help us drop thought. That doesn't necessarily mean we're doing it outside in unless we decide, oh, I have to journal every day and I have to work out every day. And that's the only way I'll feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But coping skills are given to us and are such great tools to utilize as long as we don't get stuck in thinking that it's the coping skill itself. You can have this understanding and see that you are stuck in your thought, but you're stuck in this loop thinking everything is outside in. And if it comes to your mind to do it because it'll help you, that came from the inside out. You're not, as long as I lock the door 6 times and flash the lights 7, nothing bad will get to me. That's outside in.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're struggling and we see, ooh, I have a lot of thinking right now, and I'm very susceptible to getting caught up in that. And then it's like, oh, I should go work out because that helps me get out of that anxious feeling. That's not outside in because from the inside, you thought of a coping skill that would help you. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah, it does. I think sometimes I start thinking, is it the endorphins? You know, like sometimes when I do like Pilates, something happens. I know that you're going to say, oh, your mind quietens. So that's why you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But it also happens things like if I'm having a day where I'm beating myself up and then I go and put some mascara on and put on some nice clothes, then I feel better. And then I think, oh shit, is that, you know, even though I do understand that everything is inside out, but sometimes maybe just like that tiny 1%, I think, but why do I feel so much better when I go and do something that's outside, even though I do know is because my thoughts are different then.
Yes.
But sometimes I struggle because, you know, I think, you know, if I'm training to be a coach in this understanding, sometimes I think, oh my God, am I being like a bit of a fraud or something? Because, you know, I think, well, I'll go and grab some mascara and put on a nice top and now I feel better. And I think, oh dear, like, you know.
It's like you're judging your it's like you're judging yourself because you're using something that you believe is outside of yourself to make you feel better. What if it's not a case of you're using the mascara and that to make you feel better? What if that your state is asking for you to do something that will help you move state upwards? So say like, for instance, like you're down here and you want to move up. You've just had a little thought that moves you in that direction. And then you're judging that direction, judging yourself. You know, there's so many times, like when we're at a state down here, we often get loads and loads of thoughts that create that same state. But then we want to move. All we need is one little thought that's slightly better than the ones we're getting. And then we start moving up in that kind of, that consciousness, that feeling. And we think it's the outside in that's doing it. We think it's the mascara. We think it's the workout. But it's not. It's our state that's changing. And then because our state is changing, we're getting different thoughts of doing different actions. When you look at it like that, it's like, oh, okay, it's not the mascara that's making me feel better. So I'm having a slightly better thought that's giving me the incentive to do something that feels good.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, I think I was bringing a whole heap of
thinking.
thinking and then thinking, you know, like I had to be this kind of almost like Zen monk or something, like everything is just.
How many of us as coaches have thought that we are frauds?
Yeah.
Put your hand
I
up.
thought, oh my God.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I still have it.
Yeah.
I still think,
Yeah.
oh, for God's sake, I'm not Zen, or I'm not like perfect, or I haven't got my shit together. It's just a load of
Mhm.
bullshit. We
Yeah,
all
'cause
have
it's so good.
experience that can help someone else. It's just one or two
Mhm.
steps behind us.
Yeah.
And then one
Yeah,
more
that
thing I
does
want
make
to add, Maggie. You know, you put on the mascara, you put on the lipstick, you change your top, you do all those things, right?
Mm.
And you say, oh, those things made me feel better. And you're
Mhm.
thinking, shit, right? Outside in.
Yeah.
But it's not, because the feeling of feeling better is coming from where? Is it really coming from you looking at that image in the mirror? Or is it coming from inside you?
It's inside me. It's the thought, isn't it?
It is the thought. It is.
I think where I get caught up is it happens so fast. And because it's like in a nanosecond, you're just like, I feel shit. And then go and do some exercise, have a bath, get ready, put some makeup on. Oh my God, I feel so much better. And it's almost like in a split second that you don't catch the thought in time. So then you miss that it's the thought, I suppose.
Right. And you begin to just believe it a little bit, because it's like, what, here this
Yeah.
sneaky thought just got in here. And you know what? It's so true, because I feel better. And then the
Yeah.
more that continues in your mind, the more that you're going to think, this is what I need to do. Just like, I don't remember if it was Jen or Melissa or both that pointed to the fact that, I think Jen, unless you are using it as some sort of ritual, thinking to yourself, I must do this in order to get out of this state,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the thinking you have attached to it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Let go of it. Here's my famous saying, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Just let go of it and love.
Yeah.
Just love that image that's looking back at you, no matter if there's makeup or not makeup or what top you have on or any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy, you guys should see what I look like sometimes on my behind the scenes days. It's great. But you know what?
Yeah.
That image in that
It's
mirror never
actually,
changes.
it's
Go
funny
ahead.
you say that, because when I'm in a good mood, and I'm just mooching around the house on my own, whatever, and I've just got your pajamas on, and I think, oh, it doesn't matter, so I feel fine. But so I guess it's when your mood is low, then it catches you. And then you think, oh my God, I need to go and exercise. Oh my God, I need to go and put on mascara. So I suppose that's the insight there, isn't it? Depending on the mood you're in,
Yes.
will determine. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, also you got to learn your own patterns. It sounds like you have a lot of that coming in and kind of cut you off. Well, you're not good here, and this is falling short, and then you analyze a lot.
Yes.
Do not engage with that content. Take that step back to see what the pattern looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because it
Yeah,
seems
that's very true.
that every time you start to feel good and think that you got this, the pattern shows up to be like, oh, but you missed this and you missed this. And how could you be that if you're doing this? So, and you believe it every time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
Time it shows up, get curious. Do not engage with the content, but get curious with why it's showing up. Because a lot of times the ego is scared to move up, because the higher up we go, the less it feels needed. And so every time every time it works, it's going to show up. So get curious about your pattern. Get curious about why you do this at these certain times. And then just look at it.
That is a really, really good answer, Jen. That's a really good. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Because the ego wants safety and control. So I guess almost if I was to see through all this shit, then it would be like, but then something bad might happen to you, or yeah, you'd have to actually trust. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Trust. Like
Have trust.
I totally get where you're coming from, Maggie, because I have a similar thing where I want to have a really healthy body, and I have this thing with food. I keep eating junk food, and when I track my food, I get really good results. And then I'm like, but then not now, but like I was judging myself because I was like, yeah, but I know the 3 principles. I know that I shouldn't have to track my food to get the results. I was judging myself. Track the food until I don't have to. Sometimes tracking the food will just get me in that direction because it feels good. And then once it and then I don't take it so seriously. And then when it falls away, it's a bit like I had to use a boundary with my mum. And the other months ago now, I was driving down the road and all of a sudden I had this insight. It's like, oh, I don't need that boundary anymore. And I messaged her and I said, look, Mum, I love you. I love you exactly the way you are. I don't need that boundary anymore. Because I knew that it wasn't her that was affecting me. It was me. And instantly I was like, oh, I don't need that boundary anymore. It's like sometimes we'll get that feeling that, okay, I might need some mascara today. That's okay. And then one day, without forcing, you'll just get this insight and like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Okay to need something for a moment if it feels good in the moment, just stop fucking judging yourself for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really quick, something I heard from what Melissa said, where she was talking about, she would track her food, but then she realizes she doesn't need to track her food. What I heard when she said that I just need to say, I guess, to you is you don't need to track the thought. You don't need to track the reason why. You just need to see through it. You need to see it's an illusion. You need to see it is just simply a thought. And let go. Let it float on by.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, girls. Thanks. That made a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome, Maggie. MD would like to share something. Would you like to come on camera and share what it is you want to share?
Yeah, can you hear me and can you see me?
Yes? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, actually judging oneself, there is also I am struggling, like judging too quickly, and also in this digital era as a social media manager, I see so many content nowadays, and those are very like some of them are inspired me, some of them like not, like feeling disappointment. So those things actually like very not comfortable actually. So the judgment and the authenticity both are, I think, too close in this era. So time to time I'm struggling when I see those type of content on regular basis in my country, as well as in as I have so many professionals we are connected via Facebook and LinkedIn. So this is like mixed reaction for me from my side. So this is the thing I would like to actually I want to share with you guys.
So what exactly is it you're struggling with?
I think I kind of know if that's okay.
Still.
So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you're kind of pointing at is with the way that things are nowadays and with what you do for work, the authenticity of the content you come across, sometimes you have a little bit of judgment of, is this real? Did AI make this? Did they write this? Did AI write this? That
Yeah.
kind of thing, somewhat, if they're being genuine and authentic. Yeah. Does that help, Melissa, Jen?
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Either one of you want to go first? Go ahead.
Judgment. We all have judgments. We can't stop a judgment from coming into our head. Okay, we don't control our thinking, but we can see it and either decide to run with it, which creates more thinking, in which I'm sure then makes your job harder when you've added meaning to the thought of judgment against this, and it can get really crazy and out there. And it's one of those, again, back to the patterns. If you can step out of the content of all the thinking, and just see what it's doing. And again, be curious. And I tell everyone, be curious with your own thinking. If the judgment is a problem area for you, when it comes up, don't try to push it away. Don't get mad about it, but get curious of why it's coming up and kind of watch it, because thoughts are like clouds. If you watch them, they're going to change shape. And if you sit with that for a few, while it settles, you'll know what to do. Because from a quiet mind, that's when our wisdom shows up. So the judgment comes up, and instead of grabbing it and running with it, if you can recognize it and just see what shape it takes, see what it's coming from, see what it's doing, and allow it to settle and move forward from that quieter mind. But judgments are a human thing. They come up. We can't stop ourselves from having judgment. We can just decide to run with it.
See, yeah, it's natural actually, and everyone have different judgment, and it comes naturally actually, as you say. So yeah.
Yeah. And just, I'm going to clarify something really quick, if you don't mind. Yes, absolutely. Like Jen is saying, we can not stop a judgmental thought from coming in our mind. The part that we can control is whether or not we believe that thought and whether or not we feed that thought. So if one comes in, we absolutely can just let it go on by and don't engage with it. Or we can add some thinking to it. And the more thinking that we add to it, well, the more frustration, anger, sadness, whatever it is, the feelings, emotions around that thought are going to continue to grow. So yeah, no, as we cannot stop a judgmental thought from coming in. We can stop ourselves from being judgmental by not feeding that thought. If that makes sense.
I have a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, I had a really horrible judgmental thought coming to my mind. Like I was watching these people, I was people watching, and I was seeing this woman coming down the street, and it was a horrible thought. I'm not even going to repeat it because I was just like, what the fuck? And it came into my mind, and I was like, oh. And then I started thinking, oh, I'm a horrible person. Oh, that's not nice. Why would I think that? And then then I clicked on, I was like, oh, it's just a thought. It doesn't belong to me. I can let it go. And just like that, I just let it go. Like it doesn't mean anything about me, because quite often we have these judgmental thoughts and then we think it means something about us. We think that we're a bad person because it's popped into our head. But we're not. It is like Jen and Chrystal saying, it just comes in and comes out. And when we can be more playful with it, and when we can be like, oh, I don't have to actually attach myself to that thought. It's like if someone was right next to you and you didn't agree with what they said, it doesn't mean that you have to like bring them into your life now and like be their best friend, right? You can be like, oh, okay, I don't agree with that. You can do the exact same with your own thoughts. Just because it has your voice on it doesn't mean that it's you. It's just noise in your head. When we can see that, it's like, oh, okay, it's just a thought that I can ignore anytime I want.
Yeah, same kind of similar kind of thoughts, Melissa. Very close to what you just shared. I also suffered this kind of pop-up thoughts, which is those are not not comfortable, also negative sometimes, but those are not belongs to me. This understanding is really important. Like to understand this.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything, anyone else want to have a question? Banner.
I was just waiting that someone, since I'm in a place where I can actually talk. I love this conversation so much. And I'm so happy. I had a brief moment where I didn't think I was going to be on, but it worked out for me to be on. The conversation about thoughts and judging is, you know, sometimes I can be a real judgy bitch, and I'm like in my head, literally. It's like, oh my God. And just now having a better awareness, I can just think, oh my God, you're such a judgy bitch. And moving on and not attaching something bigger to it or beating yourself up and I love the conversation earlier about the things that we think we need to do to feel better about ourselves. And I do have to say, and for me, it's just a normal thing. When I get myself ready to go in the morning, so I'm ready for the day, it's a good feeling for me. It's a really good feeling, and not I don't really think about it, but not attaching to, oh, if I don't put on a mascara and eyeshadow and whatever I'm putting on and putting on something decent that it's going to affect me negatively. I just know that that's what I like to do. And then I'm ready for the day. So anyway, I'm just so happy that I could be on this morning. And I love all the conversations. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Banner.
Oh, I love you. You know, about judgment, real quick. We all have those moments. We all have those moments. I'm literally at the point now where I recognize it, right? When it comes in with the awareness, I recognize it and I will literally tell on myself before I say it. Whoever I'm talking to, whoever's around, maybe no one's around and I'm just telling myself anyway. I'm like, I know this is judgment, but I'm saying it anyway. And then I let it go. I don't stay there and I don't feed it, but it's normal and it's just not about taking it seriously. And definitely, if you do find yourself in a bit of judgment,
don't judge yourself.
Yeah, don't judge. Thank you. Don't judge yourself. Just let it go and recognize your humanness in that.
And be curious and play a game with it. You know, Saturday I had a party to go to and there was a swimming pool and a hot tub. So she was like, bring your swimming cozies. And I'm instantly like, oh shit. None of my swimwear like fits. And then I start getting into my head and I could literally feel it. So it's like, I felt it, that kind of knot in my stomach of like, oh my God, like my cousin is beautiful, my best friend is beautiful. I'm going to be like I'm going to be like comparing my own body to theirs. And then I was sitting there and like Dave says, like, you're in that thought storm. I was like, yeah, I am. And instead of like trying to get myself out, I said, do you know what? I'm going to play a game with it. I'm going to allow myself to feel the emotions and feel the thinking and see where it's going just out of curiosity. And I could see it. I could see all of the thinking. I could see all my emotions coming over me and that feeling of like inadequacy and like judging myself and comparing myself. I was like, this is quite interesting actually, because I was aware enough that I knew that I could exit at any point. And then I was like, okay, I can use this as a game and just to see where it goes. And when you do it like that, when you play with it, it's like, oh, okay, I can see exactly where this kind of type of thinking is taking me. And then just like that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to come out now. I'm good. I'm happy. I don't need to be a certain size to have fun at a party. And then just like that, my consciousness jumped. It's that easy, guys. If we can start having fun with it and not taking it so bloody seriously and create games, then it kind of like, it really does help us. So, Tyler, would you like to ask your question? Your hand is up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Tyler, we can hear you.
So I just wanted to add, it was actually kind of related to what you did, but a thing that I've kind of learned is when looking at other people or even looking at ourselves, look at us as the child version. I don't know if that would be helpful to anyone, but it's kind of what I do. So when rather than being judgy, I first look at them as a kid, like their mini version of themselves. Because you'll never look at a kid and go, oh, you dumb kid, or you jerk, or whatever the case may be. You're always going to look at them with a little more love and a little more compassion and understanding. And it kind of gives you a more, I don't know, or a less judgy approach. Because deep down, we're really just kids inside that, our bodies get older, but we grow as we grow. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, first of all, Tyler, that was
Hello?
beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
That was beautiful. That was a great thing to add there. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, looking at everyone like they're a child with so much less judgment and their innocence. That's the part right there that we forget as we get older and the people around us get older. We forget that we all have this innocence inside us. And I think that was a beautiful point. That was a beautiful direction for people to look in, Tyler. That was an absolutely wonderful point.
Yes. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's a bit like when I just said about like the boundary of my mum. That is kind of exactly what happened with me. Like I saw her as that innocent person that was just, everyone is doing the best they can with what they know, right? And when we understand that, then we have so much more compassion for people, so much more empathy, and we can kind of like step into their shoes almost. Like I find now, I can almost step into someone's shoes and know what they're feeling and be like, oh, you're okay, And it's like, because like road rage, I used to have serious road rage, really bad. I'd be like, if someone didn't say thank you or if someone cut me up, I'd be like, you're a fucking wanker. Like, what? How the hell? But now I'm like, if someone cuts me up, I'm like that initial kind of like comes up. Then I'm like, oh, maybe they've got a plant in the back that they don't want to get knocked over. Or maybe maybe they got a nan in the car. All of these kinds of things. And again, it's just playfulness, right?
And I love the fact that you can look at someone, or especially yourself, you can, instead of looking in the mirror and you see this adult and you're like, get your whatever together and don't do this and don't do that. You can look at yourself as a kid and say, okay, what are we doing wrong? What do you think's a better way to approach to this or go about this and correct it situation, or whatever the case may be, especially for me as a comes to heart. And oh, sorry, but I just find looking at myself as a child, I'm a lot more compassionate. And for men, it's harder, I think. Maybe not all men. Some are more connected to the feminine side. And just for me, like I have 3 daughters, so I have to look at it that way because it's very, very different with dealing with boys versus young girls. And there's a lot of emotion. And I always end up feeling like Tom Hanks, there's no crying in baseball. But it's when I look at them as when they were little, it just softens my heart. And it just makes me think, okay, well, if say my one daughter's just starting to get the teenage years, and it's like the insecurities that come along with that. And it's really hard to approach when you're looking at her as a doll or as a young lady. Understanding anything really is seeing where it comes from. Yeah, I'll let you guys do. Sorry.
No, thank you, Tyler. Thank you for sharing that.
MD, you wanted to say something else? You have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, there are so many people, like I connected with so many Facebook private and public groups, and there are so many people, they were suffering and struggling with judgment, personal growth, and what we already talked in our conversation. So I can relate that, and they want actually solution. They want people like you, people like Chrystal. They want actually solution, and I scroll their content, see their sufferings, misery. But yeah, this is the thing I actually want to share with.
Well, thank you. I think one thing is as well, like, sometimes we look around and we see the misery, we see people suffering, and then we want to fix everyone. But what I've come to understand in the Three Principles is that it's not our responsibility to go around and fix people, but never underestimate the power of planting seeds. Because they grow. They really grow. Like I have family members that are just not into this stuff. They think it's woo-woo and like, oh, emotions, all that kind of crap. But I've planted so many seeds now, and I've watered them, and I'm like, not to change them. Like, so when I first started coming in, I wanted to change all my family members. I wanted to fix them. I wanted to be like, you need to do this. You need to see this. You need to read this. Watch this video. I was trying to fix them because, well, I didn't like their behavior. So it was kind of a selfish reason, really. But when I really kind of like understood, if I just accept them for exactly who they are and don't see them as broken, don't see them as anything other than what they are, that's when stuff really started to shift for me. That's when they started coming to me and asking questions. And it's the same thing like with social media. We can share this stuff and then people start getting curious. So we don't have to actually actively go out and try and fix people because that's not our job. What we can do is we can create this energy, we can create this frequency and shine it out. And then those that are ready to hear will come to us. And it's
Like you
okay.
said,
Go on.
transformation, not saying change, but fix, but like transforming their current situation. They're struggling. This is the nice thing. And they want they want it very much because there are so many posts. I almost each week I experience it both in Facebook, LinkedIn, and yes, absolutely in YouTube. So there are so growing of AI. This is also a concerning. Like there are so many people they think we are now becoming artificial. We are not being natural anymore. So this is also a new uh, area we need to see, and we can check it. Each
Oh, Chrystal.
I love that. I love it. And I want to say something about the authenticity and the connection and all of that. And this living in this understanding, the connection and the connectiveness. And I won't call out the artist, but I received this in the mail.
Mhm.
And when I held this and received this in the mail, I could feel just the love that was put into making this. I could feel the connectedness to this person, though I've never met this person in person. I could feel our friendship. I could feel everything. Those feelings were coming in from inside me, not from this, but because of the grounded in awareness, I could feel how much love was put into this. And that right there is absolutely beautiful, to be able to just share our love, our connectedness, our compassion, our kindness, everything just out there. And to not even have to say a word, not even a word to someone, and you can feel it. You'll always feel the difference between authenticness and fake, for lack of a better term, because it will always come with the feeling attached. It will come from the feeling inside you. Truth knows truth.
Well, and one thing also that I'd like to add, yes, truth knows truth, first of all. But like on social media and just how we are, it's like everything is a performance. Everyone's trying to get noticed. Everyone's trying to catch your eye. And that brings pressure. That brings trying to be something you're not. And this whole understanding is stop performing. Stop performing. Stop trying to be who you think others want you to be. And just show up ordinary as you are. Because, especially in this world, when we just show up ordinary, that's what makes us stand out. You know, everyone
Yeah.
wants to be so, you know, perform and have so many followers and get so many likes. And when we're performing, we're not being who we are. We're not being authentic with ourselves. And every performance brings its own bucket full of thinking.
Sorry. Yes, Tyler, I was exactly going to say that. You know what's so great about being yourself, authentic, and being ordinary? That makes you extraordinary. Absolutely. 100%. There's no other way to be.
And when
Sorry,
you
Jen.
was go on, yeah, go on, Jen.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when you do stop performing, because I was the same, like when I'm a struggling coach, I wanted to get clients, and so I was trying to use AI to write my posts like months and months ago, or I was trying to imitate a coach that inspired me, and it never felt right. The post didn't ever feel right. And then a few months ago, I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to write what comes out of my heart. I'm just going to write for me. And that's when things started changing. Like, people started really commenting on my stuff, or when I'm out, people are talking about it. Like, no one outside of me likes my stuff. But then when I'm talking to people, they're all coming up to me and saying like, "Oh, I loved your post. Can you post more of that? Like, I loved your dancing. Can you post more of that?" Like, even Saturday, like 2 people come up to me and say, "Oh, I love your posts." I'm like, it felt good because I know that I was fully authentic. That come from my heart. And I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Nope, I've lost my train of thought, to be fair.
That's beautiful.
Has anyone got any more questions or insights? What have you heard in this conversation so far?
I would like to share something I experienced a while ago. The first time it really dawned to me was about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I experienced the same thing with close friends and family members. Especially with one friend, she was so much suffering and so much in her head and absolutely close to any kind of support. And at one point, I really felt that this is getting to me. And it makes me suffering and it makes me miserable. And I was sitting with this friend in Bremen and on her balcony. And she was like all hands and feet in refusal to even listen to me. And I had this visual that my heart needs to grow longer arms so I can love them from a greater distance, where their suffering is actually not make me suffering too. Because in that stage, I'm not useful for anybody, including myself. And I don't know, in English, in German, it's the difference between Mitgefühl and Mitleid. So one means suffering with somebody versus being empathic, but not suffering with them in the same mud. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure about English. Some things they're better expressible for me in English, more fine-tuned, and sometimes it's better in German. And sometimes I get very confused.
I think
Maybe
fabulous.
it is the thing with empathy and compassion. I'm not sure.
Well, okay, I think that especially when we've first seen something and then we see people that we care about struggling, we want to fix them. We want to help them. We want to shove this down their throats. And why won't you just listen to me? And what I've found is it's not our job to convince anybody. It's not our job to sell anything. But when we embrace this understanding and we really start to see it for ourselves, all we have to do is stand firm in what we know, and that attracts people. especially when they've seen us going from suffering, mental suffering, daily, constantly, to peace of mind, to slowing down, to being able to take things as they come and not get overwhelmed. We don't have to sell this. We don't have to shove this down anybody's throats. We just have to keep looking in this direction and live it for ourselves. And that attracts people because you can't fake this. And it doesn't take a whole lot of understanding to change everything, to change how you show up in life, to change how you relate to your own thinking. It just takes a little bit. And the more we look and stand in what we know, the more it spreads to everybody around us, because when we get this, it's not something we can contain. It comes out in everything that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And something, where are you going to go? And something I want to add it to really quick.
Cool.
I think what I heard a lot of, and I want to touch on a little bit, someone else's suffering, it's not your suffering. When we have loved ones or people that are close to us that we see suffering, it's so easy to take that on and go ahead and feel it with them if we want to. And just because we don't, it doesn't make us not compassionate, not empathetic, not any of those things. There's just a difference of the fact that I know it's an impossibility that if one of my children are suffering in some sort of way, the only way for me to suffer with them is for me to engage in that thinking. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love my children. It doesn't mean I'm not compassionate, empathetic. It surely doesn't mean I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them suffer. But the only thing I can do is point, guide, be there, and let them see for themselves. I can't fix anybody. I can just have conversations. I can be present. I can show up. I don't have to say anything. That's the most beautiful part of it all. It's not about the words. I don't have to. Yes, Albert, not feeding the rabbit. I don't have to feed their rabbit. Their metaphorical Harvey, the rabbit, because it doesn't exist. We have circumstances, of course, that go on. Absolutely. Yesterday, my son got into a car accident by himself. No other vehicles involved. It was raining and he hydroplaned. He is okay. He totaled his car that he loves so much. And he is distraught and he is upset and he is frustrated. And I get it. And I empathize for him, but I'm not going to get upset and frustrated or any of those things, because what's that going to do? And you kind of pointed to that too. If I am not in clarity of mind, I'm no good to anybody else. If I'm going to get caught up in somebody else's stories or their thinking, I'm no good to them. I might as well just get on the roller coaster ride with them and buckle us both in, because now we're both going on the ride together. But when we see that that's not it, this ride is ours and it's separate from anybody else, then there's such a freedom in that. Knowing the fact that we don't control is such a relief to me. Yeah. we're just here to guide and to, just like with everybody else, to do the best that we can do. And I don't know, kindness and love and compassion, spreading that as far as we can. That's the key. But that doesn't mean we have to feed into their suffering. That doesn't mean that their suffering becomes ours. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you pretty much clicked onto exactly what I was just about to say. Our suffering happens when we step into their story, when we take their story on as our own. And I used to do this with someone I loved. Like, I had a friend, and she was suffering, and I was trying to bring her up with me. I was trying to bring her up, but she just wasn't ready. And it's okay to step away from someone, because sometimes we step away and we think, oh, I'm abandoning them, or I'm letting them down. But if they're not ready, they're not ready. You can't force anyone to work on themselves. You can't force anyone to look at themselves. You can't force anyone to hear you, because the thing is, they're on a different radio station to you, and no matter what you say, they're not going to hear you. The best thing you can do is be the light yourself, because that energy will do so much more than any words that you can think of. You know, people are coming up to me and asking questions now in my family. There's a lot of mental, well, I'm going to say mental problems, but no one has mental problems. We just think we do. But there's a lot of that in my family, and now they're all kind of coming to me and looking. It's almost like I can feel like they're looking up to me, like my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. And I haven't said anything to them. They're just watching me. Remember, people are watching you, even if you don't think they are. There's always people in the background watching you, and they feel cool to you. So the best thing you can do to help those you love and help the people around you is to be the light yourself, is to be so grounded in yourself, is to share that light. And then that starts feeding the seeds that you've been given them. It starts watering the seeds. And remembering that it's not our responsibility. Tyler.
What was I going to say? So, yeah, there was a couple things. Like one, when someone's suffering, and this goes back to the judgment as well, but I always try to look at them as, or understand them as, if I went through everything they went through from birth till now, I would be exactly the same. And it kind of reduces that judgment, right? Like if I had the same hardships they did, I'd probably be exactly where they're at. And the other thing, when the one thing I've noticed, so if you have a friend that say is suffering, you can never go up to them and tell them anything. That's like the forbidden thing to do. But I have found, if you want to raise their curiosity, just ask them questions. Like, where are you? How do you feel? If they say something, it means everything. So if you can get them to ask you what you do, that's the only way, especially if they're not in the frame of mind that they want to learn something. So I know this sounds weird. I did a lot of studying and stuff like that with everything from CIA tactics and whatever, mind. But I found asking questions will get the gears going. And you just keep asking it and take them down the rabbit hole. And you might be able to slip in the odd thing, but always have it in a question form. Like, I went through this, and what do you think about that? What's your opinion on that? And it takes away the fact that you're telling them, well, this is what I did, and you should do it too. But it takes away the guard, keeps them out of that lizard brain so that they stay in the process of thought. And so for me, that's been more effective, especially with kids and stuff like that. You can never You know, it all stems down to our parents. And they're like, you do this or else. And it's like, or a teacher says that, you do this, get your homework done. This is what you have to do. And so we've almost been raised to create that wall for people that tell us what to do. So if we can just ask the questions, it comes off softer. And like one of the things, like David mentioned when he was in hypnotherapy, was his test was to, using questions, get a free something. I can't remember what it was, but he had to get it. So it was all questions and questions. And it takes away that confrontation so that everyone feels like, oh, well, they're listening to, because you'll ask a question and they'll respond. And you're constantly just, when you make it about them, they're all in. But the moment you make it about you, they shut off. They tune out. Now, if they want to learn, it's different. You can work with people like that. But if they don't, you can't ever push anything on them. At least that's my experience. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on
So I'm learning very quickly you can't push this on anybody. There's no pushing this. But what you can do is you can listen and you can point out their wisdom. You can also help them see their misunderstandings in the moment, you know, and when someone is, I like to get people to think about certain things that will change their emotions and help them see that thought creates feeling. Did you just see how, as soon as we switched to this conversation, your heart started beating faster, you started getting agitated, and now you're in a low mood? Did you notice how it was just that switch of thought to that subject? Um, it's, and you never want to come out at someone, well, if you do this, you want to keep it impersonal. And that's the great thing about this understanding, is it is impersonal. It's every human being, it's every creature. You think you have a mind and you're aware. It doesn't matter anything else. And when you keep it impersonal, you're not attacking the ego. And as soon as you offend someone's ego, you might as well go for a walk away for a little bit, because that ego is protective and that ego is not going to take on anything that you tell it that it's wrong. But when you can talk impersonal and you can get people looking in a direction to where they bypass their ego even for a second, that's all it takes.
Love it. Thank you. It's awesome.
Tom.
Oh, hey. Hi, everybody. Nice to be here with everyone. And thanks for doing this. And I guess I'd like to share what's been really fresh just recently. And, when I first came into this community like 7 years ago, one of the things that I find really funny now is I didn't really respond very well to Sydney Banks himself. I thought, oh, here's a really nice man, but I didn't really feel like I heard anything. But the other teachers, the people who he taught, that they were the people who I was responding to. But about a year later, it kicked in, and Sid said one thing that has been my, I don't know, anchor or whatever, where he would just say, don't worry about trying to understand all this stuff. Just look within yourself and find a nice feeling. And if you find a nice feeling, that's it. And so I've really taken him at his word on that. And that can sound, and I've heard other people, comment on this too, and that can feel a little tricky because you could say, well, what do you mean? Look within and find a nice feeling. I don't have a nice feeling. What are you talking about? Do you know? Maybe some of you have had that experience, but it got me curious to say, okay, well, what can I find? Because, calling it a nice feeling may set up some kind of expectation that it feels a certain way. But the word nice is like the word ordinary that we were talking about earlier. Ordinary. That's what I love about it. And so I began to see that there actually is something. And it's not sometimes very tangible, and it is available. And so lately about that is the idea has started to come to me more and more, like, it taps you on the shoulder. It's like, hey, this nice feeling, like that's the prize. That is the only prize. It's the only prize. There's no other prize in life. I just like the word prize. You can use your own word. And it's true. It's everything. And it's also true that there are a lot of nice things we can experience in our lives or things we can work for, and achieve. And those things do feel good, but even those are temporary. They don't always seem to be available. They can ebb and flow. But whatever this prize diamond that's inside of us is always there. And the other part that has been really alive for me is, like, I'm sure everyone on this call, my mind can very daily, often hourly, give me a lot of what I call disaster movies about the future. And I just, okay, it's like those things on social media that you're scrolling through these nice videos of cats, and then there's a natural disaster they throw in, and we're not in control of that. So this thing about this, whatever it is inside of us being the only prize, it's also even the worst things that can happen to me. It doesn't affect that. It doesn't affect it at all. It will never, it cannot touch it. It cannot take it away. My mind and consciousness can go away temporarily, but it always brings me back. And that's the part where it's also a power. It's the only power it's the only power. It's the only prize, the only power, and it's constantly bringing us back. So if I go out for a walk, which I do a lot, and then my mind's going here and there, it's going up and down, it's going from joy to disaster. In the past, if you had asked me when I came home, like, how was your walk? I would say it was horrible. I was thinking about all these horrible things, but then if you look at what's actually going on, there's this power that keeps bringing you back. Like the mind can go to annoyance or disaster, but then it comes back. And that's what you can count on. So it's like, I went for a walk. Yeah, I was great. Like my brilliant, powerful consciousness rescued me 100 times from the most horrible thoughts. Brought me right back. That's the orientation. So I just would encourage people, whenever it occurs to you, like, well, what is this? Like, consider what Sid said. And the ironic thing is, it's almost like, people saying the principles, don't do techniques, don't do blah blah blah. But it's like Sid gave a very clear instruction. I'll just call it an instruction. He said, look within and see, look for a feeling, and it can be any feeling. And even what I discovered was even the so-called act of looking within in a nice, there you go. You look within in a nice, gentle way. Guess what? there's a nice feeling. So I guess just to summarize, the thing that's been so exciting the past couple days, really just the past couple days, is to really start to get, I think, wow, there are things I want in my life, and I'm sure we all do, but it's like, this is the only prize. It's the only prize, and it's there. And it's like, I'm sure, ever expanding. So anyway, that's what's been alive for me. So thanks for listening and giving me the chance to express that.
Thank you for sharing that, Tom. Thank you so much. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's disaster, chaotic thinking. I've been struggling with overwhelm. Because if I sit there and I think of all the things that are happening right now and how fast it's going and how much it's stacking, I'm like, I can't do this. I should run and hide. Um, that's my thought. But then I look inside and I'm brought back to that. And that's, if I had to name the feeling, that is it. Just that it's all okay. And then as long as I just, okay, that's there, it's right there, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and I can jump right back into it anytime I want. But that when I find that, then I can just do one thing at a time, and I'm more productive, I'm not stressed, and I get it done. And then once I'm all done, I look at it all, and then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there's the overwhelm, it's still right there." But that's the cool thing, it can be right there next to that feeling, that good feeling. And we get to decide where we give our attention to.
I love that. And as Tom was talking, I had this image just pop up to my head. I have to share because it was like, oh my God. It's like you sit on the sofa and you've got Netflix on and you're going through all of them. You're watching the trailers. You sometimes maybe you'll watch the movie, or maybe you'll just see the screen and then you're like, oh, I don't like the look of that one. You can't choose what movies are on there. But you do have the remote control to which ones you give attention to. And it's like, we're doing the same thing with our thoughts. We have the control, you know? It's like, oh, how much of this movie am I going to pay attention to? Am I going to watch just the trailer, or am I going to watch the whole freaking movie? And then we're sitting on there watching a horror movie, not realizing that we can change the fucking channel. So yeah, I just had to share that. I don't know if that resonated with anyone or anything.
Yeah, in fact, I noticed that too with especially on social media, the short reels that go through. That even without anyone telling me, when I started getting into that, and I started noticing this, oh, there are these things like I was watching things that I liked, and then there was a disaster thing, right? And it caught my attention. And guess what? I started getting more and more and more. And no one told me this, but I was like, I don't want this. So the only choices I had is just what you said is I just knew if I flipped through them really quickly, they would go away. And then I also realized the things that I liked, I had to intentionally spend a few more seconds in them so that the whole thing would reset itself. And that's our consciousness. Like our consciousness goes with what we're interested in. It wants to know. It's actually very, even though like in social media, the algorithm may seem kind of evil a little bit, but in our minds, like it really wants to know what we want. And it's like, it doesn't have any opinion. Oh, well, Tom likes these disaster things. I'm going to give more, you know?
Yeah, it's like, where are the eyeballs? Like, how long are they watching this video for? Like, oh, that's more than 2 seconds. They must really like this one then. And it's the same with our thoughts. We give our attention. Oh, Yeah, that's a perfect example was yesterday when I was, the bikini, and I'm like, oh crap. And then I gave that thought more thought, and then I realized that a shit ton more of those same frequency thoughts were coming in. So, oh, I've pressed the trailer and now I'm watching the film. But we can come out of it anytime we want. Chrystal.
I love that. I love that, Melissa. We're watching the trailer when you just accidentally hit play. You didn't mean to, it just happened. And I think the beautiful part is our awareness, though. Our awareness of, shit, I hit play. I didn't mean to hit play on that one. Or, you know what? Maybe curiosity got the better of us for a minute, and it's all right. But there's that pause, there's that back, there's that exit, there's any of those things. So we don't have to continue to watch, partake in that movie that we don't want to. And that's the beauty of free will. That's the beauty of awareness and seeing that you have a choice. You're not stuck because you pushed play. But yet, maybe my dog stepped on the remote. Push play. It's happened. Okay, it's happened. But I don't have to watch it just because my dog wants to. I can watch whatever I want, whenever I want. That's so beautiful. Thank you, Tom, by the way. That was wonderful. Go ahead, John.
Sorry. I just wanted to one thing I've noticed it though is even when we do accidentally hit play, if it's a movie we've already recognized that we do to ourselves, we don't watch the whole movie. We don't stay in it as long. And it's not surround sound, and in the theater, it's, on the little TV in the living room, if that makes sense. Every time we recognize it, even when we get caught up again, it's not as powerful. It's not like before when it was surround sound and super bass and you could feel it in your bones.
Oh, it's like I went to Disneyland once, and you go into those movie things, don't you? You sit in the seats, and it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something I was watching. And, the bees were coming at me, and the chairs were vibrating, and the water was getting squirted. That's when you're, like, in that thought, and you're like, oh, shit, I'm in this reality. It's like a full-on reality. And I'm like, don't sting me, And, yeah, it is. I love that, Jen, because it is now it's more like, oh, it's just on a little tiny screen in the kitchen while I'm cooking. It's there, but it's not my reality anymore. So yeah, I love that, Jen. Wow.
What's even better when it's on that little screen in the kitchen and not playing on the big screen anymore? Turn it off. Turn it off.
Yeah. What I do to the news, as soon as it comes on, off.
It doesn't even come on my TV. Beautiful.
All right, guys. Well, yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for joining us. I don't know if anybody has anything they would like to say.
Otherwise, we're going to have Jen do her part that somehow got assigned to Jen that nobody ever assigned to Jen, but Melissa and I just expect Jen to do it.
All right. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you've heard. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. And thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And thanks to all of our guests again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. This has been such a beautiful, beautiful experience. I loved it.